Rupert Lowe, please.
Thank you, Chairman. So I've got a question, I think, for the Permanent Secretary. I mean, do you agree with me that good data is the basis on which good decisions are made rather than bad decisions? That's how I've always run my businesses. I mean, do you agree that's a logical summary of how people make good decisions rather than bad decisions?
It is entirely how we would hope to do so, yes.
So can you explain to me then, I mean, I have had hundreds, literally hundreds of NHS whistleblowers. You probably know I've set up something called Restore Britain. We've got our own whistleblowing line. We've literally had hundreds of NHS staff whistleblowers, I mean hundreds, who've contacted us about the lack of English language causing issues, as well as foreign staff not holding appropriate skills and qualifications. Now, these people, these are doctors, they're nurses, they're midwives, they're managers, they're surgeons, they're everybody within the NHS. It's not just one subset. And what they're frightened of actually reporting it to the NHS for the fear of the wokerati who run the NHS now, their fear of reprisal, so they've come to us. So, I mean, I'd like to know, you must accept the fact that we need the data. So what data do you hold, basically, on the correlation between foreign nationals and medical malpractice taking place within the NHS? You must look at all this data. You can't fear being called racist or anything else. We need raw data for the taxpayers' benefit and also for the patient's benefit.
With your permission, if I can hand over to Aidan as the doctor, thank you.
Well, I think, so I wouldn't want to be considered part of a wokerati, but I mean, we are very animated about issues around inequalities and so on, and we are hand reading, for example, and to the point about digital, with machine learning, we will get far more data from those 3 million incidents that I'm referring to. But we are hand reading the death and severe cases, thousands of those a year, and what is not coming out of that is that there is an issue around people who've come from abroad and language and communication. There is undoubtedly communication issues around inequalities in harm, and we know that some groups are affected by harm more, partly because of communication, and communication is undoubtedly important in safety. But what we're not seeing from those reports we're reading is some of the things that you're describing people whistleblowing to.
You disagree with these whistleblowers?
So I'm not disagreeing with whistleblowers because I haven't spoken to them, and it's important that people feel able to speak up. And one of the things that we are very focused on is the concept of psychological safety and people being able to step forward and talk to us about these things.
It wasn't just a heated exchange. This was a complete breakdown of accountability inside the NHS. A simple question was asked, where is the data? And instead of clear answers, what did we get? Deflection, excuses, and silence where it actually mattered. Rupert Lowe came in with something very specific: hundreds of whistleblowers, not 2, not 10, hundreds, doctors, nurses, surgeons, people inside the system raising serious concerns. And what was the response from the NHS side? We're looking into it. We haven't seen that. We don't want to be seen as same pattern, same safe answers, every single time. No hard data. No direct denial. No real accountability. Just carefully worded responses designed to avoid the real question. Because the real question wasn't complicated. Is there a link between foreign recruitment, communication issues, and patient safety? That's it. Simple. And yet, they couldn't answer it. Instead, they shifted the conversation toward inequalities, toward process, toward anything except the core issue being raised. And this is where it gets serious. Because this isn't about politics anymore, this is about patient safety. This is about taxpayers funding a system that refuses to confront uncomfortable questions. You had whistleblowers too afraid to speak internally. You had concerns about language barriers and qualifications. And you had leadership more worried about being labeled than being transparent. That's the real problem. Not the question. Not the whistleblowers. The refusal to face the data head-on. And when institutions start avoiding data, when they start filtering what they're willing to acknowledge, that's when trust completely collapses. Rupert Lowe kept pushing for one thing: facts. But instead of facts, he got hesitation. And hesitation in a system like healthcare? That's dangerous. So here's the bottom line. If there's nothing to hide, show the data. If the concerns are false, prove it. But don't sit there and pretend the issue doesn't exist while hundreds of insiders are raising alarms. Because ignoring it doesn't make it go away. It just makes the consequences worse. Drop one word in the comments for this situation, because honestly, this is bigger than just one debate. And the most alarming part, when they were directly asked, do you disagree with these whistleblowers? There still wasn't a clear answer. No, yes. No, no. Just another careful escape. That was the moment for clarity, and once again, it was dodged. And when leadership hesitates like that, what message does it send inside the system? Stay quiet, or be ignored. That's exactly why people are speaking out externally, because internally, they're not being heard. Then they talk about psychological safety, but what does real safety actually mean here? For doctors, or for patients? If communication issues are undoubtedly important, then why aren't they being properly measured? If the problem exists, why not address it openly? Everything was said except the one thing people were actually waiting for, the truth. And when a system starts avoiding the truth, that's when you know the problem runs much deeper.